In this episode, we're going to be looking at one of our practice books for PEP 6. We are at the Book Fusion website. We're looking at libraries and the Ministry of Education Youth and Information Library is where we're at. If you missed how we did this, you can check with our previous video from Language Arts. All right. So let's go to the interactive session for social studies. I'm going to hit read now, and it's pulling this up for us. Okay, let's go. So we have our social studies. Let's click to go ahead. All right, so we have our front cover here. Again, some of this information will come pre-slugged for you, but as with all papers, you need to make sure you have the name placed here, your name, first and last, the exam, the school, and the subject, and so on. You sign here. You check your registration number to make sure that it is correct. Right? This information generally comes pre-slugged. Now, to the instructions. Read the instructions below before answering the questions in the booklet. This booklet contains 10 questions. Now, remember that on a regular paper, you may get 40 questions or, whatever that particular exam has for you. So pay attention. If they say 10 questions, make sure you answer 10. If they say 40, you answer 40. If they say 100, you answer 100 questions. Space is provided for you to shade your answers inside this booklet. There is no separate answer sheet. Note, anything in bold, all questions must be answered in this booklet by shading the selected letter space for the answer. 3. Read each question carefully. Based on instructions given for some questions, they may have more than one correct answer. So it's a multi-select. So you're going to provide more than one response. For each question, options are given to choose from, and you need to indicate the answer or answers you have selected from each question by shading the corresponding letter space from the options given. If you change any of your answers, erase the first shaded answer completely, then shade the new answer. And here again, they show you how to do this. They say don't make any stray marks on the answer sheet. This is what a correct shaded response looks like. And this is incorrect here. Not a tick, not an X, not a half shaded circle, not a dot in a circle. Okay, let's move on. All right, so it says here, answer all questions by shading the circles that match the circle that matches your answer. Question 1. Country D is on the road to self-governance. Which two options present arguments in support of the country's move? All right, so let's think about this. The big idea here is that of self-governance. So let's go with this. Citizens of the country will now have a say in how the country is governed. All right. B, citizens will be able to participate in peaceful demonstrations. Okay. The country will now be able to progress in the way that the citizens think best. D, citizens will now be free to travel to other countries. Right? So the answers here that we would take would be, if you're in charge of yourself, self-governance, you're able to govern yourself, then we're going to take A, citizens will now have a say in how the country is governed, right? And we can take C in that the country is now able to progress in the way that citizens think is best. All right. Now, back in grade 5, you would have done some units on citizenship before. And in our textbook, you can look at page 107 to 112 to understand some of the rights of citizens in a democratic country. Okay. All right. So that's number 1. Let's look at question 2. Question 2. The culture club of your primary school wants you to write an essay about East Indians who settled in the Old Harbor community as indentured servants. Which two, pay attention to 2, of the following sources would be most helpful in writing this essay? So here are our options. Options are A, church and school records; B, photographs of old buildings; C, the headstones in different burial plots or cemeteries; D, interview with current community members. The church and school records would help in that if their children went to school, then we could get the names to show the the number of people who were there, the number of children who started going to school, and so on. Photographs of old building, not so much. Interviews with current community members, not so much. But the headstones in different burial plots, we could get information about those who came, lived, and died in that particular community. Okay. Again, big idea here is indentureship, and we can go to page page 3 and page 4 of our textbook. So page 3 and page 4 of the textbook, we can look at that to find concepts on indentureship. All right, so let me just double check to make sure that I have placed all my answers in. So for question 1, they wanted 2 responses. I have 2. For question 2, they want 2 responses. I have 2. Okay, let's move on. Question 3. All right, so we have a little cartoon set up here. So now, all right, let's look at this. Question 3. I can't afford to send my son to school. I am keeping him at home. What you are doing is not right. You could get into serious trouble with the law. I am a good citizen. Why can't I just keep him at home? He can learn from TV. True. Yes, you are a good citizen, but your son has a right to primary education. It's your responsibility to get help so he can go to school. All right. In the cartoon above, 2 Jamaican citizens are having a conversation. John, male, has concerns about Sonia's, the female's child, who has not been going to primary school. For each of the following, indicate by shading the circle whether it supports or does not support what John is trying to tell Sonia. All right. So just to make sure I understand the conversation, I'm going to read that again. I can't afford to send my son to school. I'm keeping him at home. Okay, maybe she can't afford to send the child to school because she's unemployed, so she doesn't have all the money she would like to give him in terms of attending school or to purchase the things needed, so she has decided to keep him at home. Now John says, so this is Sonia, and John says, what you are doing is not right. You could get into serious trouble with the law. Okay. I am a good citizen. Okay, so she mentions this concept of being a citizen. Why can't I just keep him at home? He can learn from TV. Okay. Yeah, you can learn from TV, but will you learn the things necessary for your development at that particular point? Yes, you are a good citizen. Again, this concept of citizen here, citizen here, citizen here. But your son has a right, concept of right, to primary education. It is your responsibility. So I'm getting the concept here, citizen. I'm getting the concept here of rights and responsibilities. It's your right to get help so he can go to school. All right, so I've read it twice. So in the cartoon above, two Jamaican citizens are having a conversation. John has concerns about Sonia's child who has not been going to primary school. Okay, for each of the following, indicate by shading the circle whether it supports or does not support what John is trying to tell Sonia. All right, let's go with this now. So here are the statements, and we need to indicate whether this statement supports or does not support. All right. Primary education is a right in Jamaica that is supported. Okay. All right. Parents have a right to deny their children education. That's not supported. Rights come with responsibilities. That is supported. Okay. So rights and responsibilities of citizens. We can go to our textbook and we can look at page 100 and let's see, page 107 to page 112 of the textbook, and you should be able to find that. And the textbook we're talking about is the Macmillan textbook. So our textbook is the Jamaica Primary Social Studies, and it's student book 6. So page 107 to 112 will talk about rights and responsibilities. All right, do we have anything else? Let me just double check. Okay, so we were asked to say support and not support. We have 3. I've done all 3. All right, let's go on to question 4. Here we have a little section here. Jamaica, Haiti, and Cuba took the same path towards independence. Do you agree with this statement? No. No, 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 no. Why no? All right. Haiti had a revolution. Cuba had a revolution. But Jamaica had a negotiation with regards to its independence. Okay. So Haiti, the people had a fight with their colonizers. In Cuba, they had a fight with their colonizers. Jamaica sat and discussed the terms of independence. All right, so we don't agree with that one. So this is no. All right, let's go down to the next side here. B. Now, which of the following 2, pay attention, 2 reasons support your choice in A above? So if I say no, I need to find 2 reasons that back up my answer no. All right, so let's go with this, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, it says here, the country gained independence during the same period. All right. Let's go now. The countries took different paths. Some fought for their independence while others came to an agreement with its colonizers. All right, so that definitely helps, but I need 2 because it says 2. So let's look. So this one is not good. I'm going to keep this one. The countries had military leaders who won wars, which led to their independence. Jamaica did not have military leaders that won wars, so I can't keep C, so that only leaves me with D. The countries did not gain independence from the same European nations. Well, that's true, so I'll take that. All right. All right, let's go with 5. Question 5. A country's national symbols and emblems are important to its nationhood. Okay. Indicate. Hold on. Let's go back to this question here before. What's the big idea for question 4? For question 4, the big idea is honoring your country, right? And your, the path to independence. All right. We can look at page 43. We can look at page 43 for that. So when you remember how your country gained its independence, you're honoring the legacy of persons who would have been instrumental in achieving self-governance, and also the concept of the path to independence. So out of that would come your national heroes and so on, that movement towards independence. So check page 43 and we should be able to get some more on that. All right, let's go down to question 5 again now. So a country's national symbols and emblems are important to its nationhood. True. Indicate by shading A or B the reasons which support or do not support the statement above. All right, here are the reasons. So these national symbols and emblems, they help to foster economic development. This statement does not support that. Let's go. Help to foster a sense of identity. Yes, that supports. Helps citizens to strive for quality education. Not supported there, son. All right. So for this question, we're looking at honoring our country, and national identity. Okay. So when we show respect for the national symbols and so on, we honor them, and all of these symbols are important in helping us to establish our identity. And we can look at page 53 for more text for more information on that. So let me just make sure I've answered all the questions here. All right, so I needed 2 from that one and 3 there. Okay, so let's move on now to question 6. All right, question 6 says, Sidima, here, which two, again, pay attention to those operative words, two, and you see it's in bold, okay, which two of the following describe how the agency represented above fosters integration in the Caribbean? All right, first, we need to know what this Sidima is all about. So let's go over to this section. So Sidima is the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, and we see it here. Let's go to this website and waiting for it to load. Loading. All right. Let me go to About Us. All right, so website loaded. Let me go to About Us and see what this is all about. Still loading. So Sidima. Let's go. So it says here, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency is a regional intergovernmental agency for disaster management in the Caribbean community, or CARICOM. The agency was established in 1991 as CDERA, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Response Agency, with the primary responsibility for coordination of emergency response and relief efforts to participating states that require such assistance. It transitioned to Sidima in 2009 to fully embrace the principles and practice of comprehensive disaster management. Comprehensive disaster management, CDM, is an integrated and proactive approach to disaster management and seeks to reduce the risk and loss associated with natural and technological hazards and the effects of climate change to enhance regional sustainable development. And we have more information on Sidima there. All right, so let's jump back over to our questions. All right, so we know what Sidima is there. So let's go now. Which two of the following describe how the agency represented above fosters integration? Let's go down now. It offers loans to small businesses in the Caribbean that sell disaster relief supplies. Never got that from it at all. So B, it offers emergency response and relief to Caribbean countries affected by a disaster. That sounds like what we want. Let's go to C. It offers media services to the Caribbean countries during a disaster. Never got that from it. Let's go to D. It directs disaster management services in different Caribbean countries. It provides information about disasters in the Caribbean? I would take D. So I'm taking B and D. And when you get to that section in the textbook, which is about chapter 10, that deals with regional integration, CARICOM is one of those ways in which we see regional integration. Some of these agencies are under that whole unit there in chapter 10. All right, let's go to question 7. Question 7, here we go now. For the 3 persons listed, indicate whether a push or pull factor led them to Jamaica. Led them to Jamaica. All right. Let's go. So, A. Chin Lee lived in Portland during the 19th century. He migrated from China to improve his living conditions. All right. And this one, so why would he come to Jamaica? Something pull him here, and they say he wanted to improve the living conditions. All right. Let's go with Chai Yen. All right. He moved to Jamaica from his hometown in China 20 years after emancipation. So he moved from there. So something would have been pushing him out of the country. Rajpal Singh, for C, left his, okay, because he was very poor. Okay, so this again is a push factor. You know, he's poor, so he wants to go somewhere else. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3 there. Let me go back up and check these. All right, 1, 2 there. What's the big idea though for question 3? The big idea is that of migration. And if you go to pages 4 and 5 of the textbook, you will see that whole section on migration and why people leave different places to go to other places. What are some of those reasons? And we can look at the categories. Some of these reasons are called push factors and some of them are called pull factors. All right. All right, so let's move on now to question 8. Question 8 says, read the following and then answer the question below. And remember, we need to read how carefully. All right. Now, 50 people met in the center of Lionel Town to protest the building of a new road. Some were holding placards, you know, the cardboard that people write on when they're demonstrating, placards which said, "We want this place for a park," while others were singing, "Our children will be in danger from trucks and cars." All right, so let me just read the question here and the responses and then read it over so you know it's soaking. Which two of the following rights did the people exercise in their protest? So okay, I must look back at the prompt and look for which rights they have. All right, cool. So the right to free speech, free press, distribute information, assemble peacefully. All right, let me read it over again. 50 people met in the center of Lionel Town to protest the building of a new road. So the people have assembled, they have gathered in the center of Lionel Town. They were holding placards, so they are demonstrating here. We want this place for a park, while others were singing, "Our children will be in danger from trucks and cars." So when they're saying this, they're communicating to the people around them, probably also this information, the information that they want will come to the attention of like the mayor or the member of parliament. It may appear on TV and so on. So, you know, they're trying to voice their particular opinion on this issue. So let's go with this now. What are the rights that they exercise? Well, they're definitely exercising free speech. In some countries in the world, if they ever go out there, they get beaten. Can't do that. Okay? You can't talk against your your government, right? But in democratic countries, we have the right to free speech. Free press, that's not a right that those people have. Free press exists in democratic countries, yes, but the people themselves, they are not a part of the press. All right. Distribute information, not the way we would want it here. Assemble peacefully, yes. All right. A healthy environment, not what we're looking for. So the two I would pick for this would be what? Free speech and peaceful assembly, or to assembly peacefully. Again, the concept here is, or the big idea is a concept of citizenship. And you can go to page 107 to 112 to see what are some of the rights and responsibilities of citizens. All right, time for question 9. Question 9. Without the atmosphere, the earth will always be cold. Okay, so this is our statement. Without the atmosphere, the earth will always be cold. All right, cool. For each of the following, indicate by shading the argument that supports or does not support the statement above. So here we have the arguments or the reasons, and we need to see if it lines up with what we want in terms of supporting this position, or if it does not support that position. All right. So argument number 1. The atmosphere contains gases that protect the Earth's surface from the sun's harmful rays. All right. That not really look like it supports it still, because it's a coal. Need to a little more than this. All right, let me go again with the next one. The atmosphere contains greenhouse gases that act like a blanket. Well, a blanket helps to keep me warm, which is the opposite of cold, so that looks like it supports it. This one, the atmosphere, let me go down some more to see. The atmosphere contains gases that help to cool the earth. If I am cold, I don't want to get cooler. All right, let me go over this again to make sure. First argument, what am I looking for again? Without the atmosphere, the earth will always be cold. All right, cool. First one, the atmosphere contains gases that protect the earth's surface from the sun's. This does not support it. The atmosphere contains greenhouse gases which act like a blanket. Blanket is important. Blankets help to keep me warm. The atmosphere here contains gases that help to keep the earth cool. I'm already cold, don't want to get cooler. That does not support. That's it. All right, so let me go now. So question 8, I needed 2 responses. In this, I needed 3. All right, good. There. Let's go now to question 10. Question 10. Okay. And before the question 9, this would have had to do with atmosphere, right? And you can get more information on that. The big idea here being, atmosphere, and page 183 to 187, we can find out about the layers of the atmosphere, the troposphere, mesosphere, all of those things, right? On those pages. So you know where to go if you're not so sure about what that whole section is about. This whole question is pointing to that particular section. All right, let's go to question 10 now. That's a question 10. Examine the graphs provided and respond to the task that follows. All right, so we have some graphs here. All right. Okay. So let's go. So some maths coming into the social studies here. Again, all the subjects are linked. All right. So let's go. So we have one here, Big Tree Village, which is 54 meters above sea level. And here I have this graph here, and I can see here on one side, I'm looking here, I see temperatures. All right, and here I'm seeing the dates. So this is my y-axis, y to the sky, and this is my x. Okay, so this is my vertical, this is my horizontal. All right, next one. Let's go down to orange tone. This is 2,000 meters above sea level. So this one is higher. This is only 54 meters, and this is much higher. All right, this one looks more consistent, right? And here we go. All right, so again, same setup. 14 14 14, it dropped to 13. What month is this? This looks like July. It dropped to 13. Then we get all right, cool. Let's go to this. Okay. All right, now something we need to remember: if this is temperature, so this here, this is 33 is going to be warmer than 31, because if we look at a thermometer, the lower the thermometer reading is, the cooler it is, and the higher the thermometer reading is, the warmer it is. So as we get closer to 0, we get closer to freezing, which is extremely cold, and as we get closer to 100, we get closer to boiling. All right, so boiling point. So let's bear that in mind. So let's go now. It says, from the choices given, shade one letter in each space so that the resulting sentence follows the, no, let's read that again. So that the resulting sentence that follows is correct. So we need to make this sentence correct. All right, so here are our choices. We have A, higher, B, cooler, C, same, D, hotter, E, lower. Orange tone is whatever in temperature because of its dash altitude than big tree. All right, so let me go back up and look at these again. So orange tone is the one that is much higher, all right, than big tree, because this 2,000 meters above sea level, that whole concept is called altitude. The distance above sea level is altitude. So this is only 54, and I notice that all of these are in the 30s, so that is higher than orange tone, which is what? Which is going to be cooler, generally cooler. All right, let's think about this. If we have the Blue Mountains are going to be cooler than Kingston, because Kingston is what? Is lower than the Blue Mountains, and the higher up you go, the cooler it gets. All right, so let's go with this now. So orange tone is what? Orange tone is cooler, which is B, in temperature because it is of a what? Higher altitude than Big Tree Village. So B and A complete that. All right, so before I click mark, I'm just going to go back all the way to the beginning. Just make sure. Let's go back. Question 1, I needed to pick 2. I have 2 there. Question 2, I needed 2. I have those there. Let's go now to question 3. I needed 3 responses. Support and does not support. I have 3. Yes, 3. Let's go with question 4. Question 4, I need 2. I have 2. Question 5, need 3. I have 3. Not giving away any marks here. Question 6, which 2? I have 2. Let me go again. Question 7, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yes, have those. Let's go on. Question 8. Need 2. Well, I'm only seeing 1. Okay, so we have 1, 2. Let's go down. Question 9. I need 3 responses because I have 1, 2, 3 statements. So 1, 2, 3. All right. Question 10. Let me see. I have two spaces there. All right. Let's click mark. Aha. So we have 2 of them that are wrong. Let's go and see which 2 we have wrong. So let's go back here. Question 8. Okay, all of those are okay. Question. Here we go. It says that this is not correct. It's a push factor move to Jamaica. All right, so we can discuss that in further detail. Let's go to question 4. That's okay. Question 4 is okay. Let's go to question 3. Question 3 is okay. Let's go to question 1. Okay, so we only have that issue here. Let's go back to that question. Let's go question 7. So even though it says we have 2 wrong, we only see 1. Let's see now. Personally, I don't like how the question is phrased. However, this is open for discussion. Let's all go back to the text. We can go back to migration, read on that to make sure that we have a better understanding of how we should respond to this. All right. Again, I don't like how the question is phrased, but this is the answer that they have selected. Debatable. However, the big idea is what is important. We need to understand migration, we need to understand push factors, and we need to understand pull factors. All right. So based on what we're seeing, that's the only thing that we have that's incorrect. Apparently, we did not get any points for that. That would have been worth 2 points. We didn't get that correct. All right, guys. Well, let's go with this now. I want to thank you all for watching. I want you to make sure that you go over the suggested readings that were mentioned. So for question 1, you can look at the concept of citizenship and all of that. You can check page 107 to 112 for question 2, big idea indentureship. You can go to pages 3 and 4. Question 3, you can go to page 107 to 112, rights and responsibilities. Question 4, path to independence. That's a big idea, page 43. Question 5, you can look at the unit on honoring our country and national identity. Okay, I think that's page 53 from the text. Question 6, big idea Caribbean community. Check chapter 10. Question 7, big idea migration, pages 4 and 5 rather. You can check that. Question 8, big idea citizenship, going back to page 107 and 112. Question 9, you can look at page 183 to 187 for that. Question 10, big idea here being mountain environments, and you can go to page 68, 75 to 76, and 133. All right, guys. Don't forget now to Give this video a like, to comment, to share, and to look out for our next video in our series in our preparations for our PEP examinations. All the best.